thought I might talk about guilt, pride, shame, and blame. Non-duality really is an impossible subject to talk about. Non-duality is not a thing. You can't do non-duality. So what we're pointing at really is that no one is doing anything. When there is the illusory self, the me, there is taking ownership of everything that is happening, and from that is born the guilt, the pride, the shame and the blame, because there's a conviction that all actions from here and from so-called others have been carried out through free will and intention. And that's just a perception that has not been analyzed, that has not been seen through. So even if there is an illusory self, then that's what's happening. There's nothing wrong with it. So we're not trying to do anything to force a change. That's quite often the action of the me, which is the rejection of what is. That it has the illusion of existence and control, that it can change what is, and it desperately wants to get somewhere else because there's basically a discomfort with what is. So everything's just happening, but for no one. To explain this, an impulse will arise to make a cup of coffee, and then coffee will be, making coffee will happen, drinking coffee will happen, but then the me is an overlay, which then is where a commentator and says, will claim it, will say, I did that. So we're talking about a very fine nuance in perception. It's just seeing that thoughts and feelings arise. You didn't actually think that thought. The thought arose out of nowhere. Or an impulse feeling arises out of nowhere. So those thoughts and feelings can be any thoughts or feelings, and they arose. And if a thought arises, maybe an action will follow that, and maybe not. That's all. But when the me is caught in a sort of an illusory loop, it will question whether I made the right decision or the wrong decision. The paradox is that even the indecision is it. That being decisive is it, and being indecisive is it. It's just happening. So there's in a way a to and a fro, because there's a discomfort with either decision or indecision, and then in a way a sense or a feeling of needing to control life, needing to make it a certain way, because there's again this simple discomfort with what is presenting, what is arising. So non-duality has nothing to do with fixing external life to become wealthy or get a girlfriend or a boyfriend or obtain any of the things that humans like and enjoy. Those things happen. So also to abandon the idea that if I follow spirituality or non-duality, I'll enter a flow state where I will then become rich, for example. That may happen, that may not happen. But when what is simply is, and it's just seen for what it is, we're pointing more towards the fact that everything simply relaxes and life is more enjoyable even when external circumstances might still be challenging. And life will tend to shift us and move us in certain ways. And again, the me will always want to control and live its life, and there's ingrained fear, existential fear, in a way like I'm missing out is a common sense of the personal me, as if I need more, I'm going to miss out on life. And in that agitation, in that constant movement of I'm going to miss out on life, so I need things to come to me, I need everything. The everyday, ordinary beauty of life, of a bird flying, the sky, the clouds, the air that you feel on your skin, feeling a body breathing, all of these things are simply overlooked because the mind is elsewhere and too active to just be with whatever's going on and to be one with that experience. And the paradox is it makes no distinction between the so-called good and the bad, so it's being, when there is difficulty, that's the experience that's being called for, because you could say God, consciousness, awareness, beingness, whatever this nothingness is, enjoys and is in this earth plane to enjoy contrast, to enjoy success and to enjoy failure. It's not looking at one or the other as being better, even though on a human level we don't seem to like failure. But we, as much as there is the day and the night, we experience both to be able to experience them. So the simple reality is that the me doesn't want to hear this. It runs for the hills. And it's so understandable. So totally understandable. And nobody's forcing anybody to even look at this. Life can be lived in any way. So somebody who wants to earn money and try to move through an apparent time can continue to do that. It doesn't change the reality that already is. In a certain way there can either be agitation or no agitation. Just peace. So a thing I've stumbled across quite a few times as well, with talking to different people and seeing the kind of preconceived ideas that people have about this, is that most humans have an idea of this search for happiness. And for example, in the American Constitution, it's written into the American Constitution, the right for the search for happiness. Again, a lot of these things are simply because they haven't been analyzed, considered, contemplated. Happiness is a momentary emotion or feeling that is beautiful, and we all love it and enjoy it, but it's one of the ephemeral qualities of external life. It comes and it goes. Just like sadness arises and then it falls, it goes. So happiness and sadness are the two sides of the same coin that come and go, and if you're seeking these states of emotion in any state, then that's not what we're talking about. Because all of these feelings and emotions will simply arise and fall continuously, non-stop. There's simply no one doing it. It's arising. And when that is seen, there is the peace, the eternal peace, witnessing, experiencing, living sadness or happiness or non-distinctness. And then the byproduct, but not what we're seeking for, not what we're trying to get to, the byproduct of how would I even call this, of the recognition of the nothingness of the no one, of just life being, is that there's just a lighter feeling. So life, it's not about going into a flow, it's just life flows because there's no more resistance to the various polarities. And everything else can still happen. Having a goal can still happen. Wanting to create a business and setting a goal for the business to earn money or to achieve something, all of these things can still happen. But there's a simple recognition, a deeper knowing that it may or may not happen. But intellect can be used to do anything you want. It's got nothing to do with that. So there's a lot of the battle of people in spirituality, non-duality, and all of this stuff is thought. Wanting to enter meditative states and avoid thought at all cost. And it's not about avoiding the thought, you don't even create the thought. It's just seeing thought for what it is. And again, the byproduct is that thoughts which emanate from, thoughts, feelings, emotions emanate from a combination of our DNA and the up-to-date conditioning of this body-mind. And so simply thought arises out of that up-to-date conditioning and DNA. And the more we become peaceful, the more we feel free to simply go towards what we like, the conditioning will be updated or by itself to follow that perspective or perception of life. So there's an apparent ease. So I'd say that's probably enough. I hope this helps. I do hope to only talk about things as truthfully as possible. Nobody's perfect, I'm not perfect. There's darkness, and you have to accept your darkness. It's one of the biggest stumbling points for most, thinking that they're going to become so perfect. So whether people want to hear this or not, because the truth is just the truth, and it's not what we necessarily want it to be or think it will be. So we really do discover the truth, and if we have a desire for truth and an intent for truth, that will be strong enough to see through everything that needs to be seen through. So, like I said, I hope this helps. We'll see if another video pops up later. Have a nice day.